Morning.
Today we're going to talk about increasing client engagement during the closing of the call. So when you're finishing a call with a client, the way you end the call can be a big factor in how engaged the client will be moving forward. With that, so a big thing is recapping what you discussed. I always, lay out everything we talked about, whether we went over SEM, whether we went over the marketing platform, and what specifically you discussed. Explain the client's next steps as well as the next steps you guys are going to take. That's extremely important because you're going over a lot with these clients, so really making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to, as well as you're following up with the items that you told them you would either do or look into for them. I do always open it up at the end of the call as well. Ask them if they have any questions of, did we cover everything? Was there something we didn't cover that you had any additional questions about? When you're, recapping that call, make sure for any upset clients or any unresolved issues. I know right now we're having a lot of Facebook issues. Still summarize the call by reminding the client of everything we did accomplish in that call. Let them know you're going to look into the issues that, we were experiencing with the Facebook ads. You're going to reach out to them maybe sooner than that 30-day time frame. But really make sure you're giving them a time frame that makes sense as well when you're following up with that call. Don't tell them, I'm going to call you in 30 minutes when after I look into that issue. Really give them a time frame that makes sense. If you think it's going to take a couple days, let them know that. Is the client aware of what the contact expectations are moving forward? So we have monthly calls with clients, we have quarterly calls. So on every end of the call, always let them know, we do these monthly calls or we have calls every 3 months. These clients have a lot going on, so just reminding them, hey, you have a 30-day call coming up, let's go ahead and get that scheduled now. Another important factor is, did you schedule the next call? And with that being said, are you guys scheduling it through TimeTrade? I always use TimeTrade to make sure, they're receiving a calendar reminder, as well as I'm also letting the client know that if they need to adjust that appointment, they can do so through TimeTrade. Even if clients say they don't want to schedule a call in the next 30 days or the next 3 months, I always go ahead and put something on the calendar and let them know, hey, we can always adjust the date, we can always adjust the time, but at least we have something on the calendar now. Does the client know the agenda for the next call? So when I'm finishing up that call, I always let them know on our next call we're going to be discussing Facebook advertising. With that being said, you guys can give them some homework. That way your next call is spent wisely. On that next call, it's not like you're figuring out what post they want to boost next. They can start thinking about it for the next 3 to 4 weeks of what specific post they want to boost. Are there any action items that are pending? So is it made clear on who will be responsible for those action items? Let them know, hey, I still need you to be on the lookout for your Google Plus postcard. Or if it's something that you need to follow up on, I know sometimes I often have to follow up with our development team on maybe some issues. Let them know what those are and who's responsible for taking care of those. Wrapping things up, so start by asking the caller if there's anything else you can help her with, and this is kind of when I ask an open-ended question at the very end. Are you happy with everything today? Is there anything I didn't address that you would like to go over? Go over, like I said, everything you accomplished for that call. Even if it's an upset client, still go over everything you accomplished, and let them know you're going to get any issues resolved. Explain what happens next. So for instance, I always let them know, hey, let's schedule a call in about 30 days. I'm going to send you a calendar reminder. You guys are also going to receive a notification. If for whatever reason you need to reschedule that call, you can do so through TimeTrade, or you can always reach out to me. Always make sure you guys are thanking the callers for taking their time. 15, 20 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but to a small business, it really is a lot. And I think they actually appreciate when we are thanking them for, taking the time out of their day to talk to us. I always remind the clients that they can always reach out to me in the time being, even if we have a 30-day call scheduled, letting them know, we are truly here to help them. So if they have a question in a week, they have a question in 3 weeks, they can always reach out to us. And let them know we have multiple different platforms. They can call us. If we're not available, they can utilize the hotline. They can utilize the chat features. Every single call, I'm reminding them all the different outlets that they can reach me on. I always close the call with something as, thank you so much, have a great day. or even simply thanking them for our business. Again, they're a small business owner, so thanking them goes a long way. And I know this seems kind of obvious, but waiting for the caller to hang up. So don't, make it sound like you're in a hurry, because then I feel like, it lets them, you want to let them know that you really care about them. You're not in a hurry, even if you have a call in 15 minutes. Make sure that they're hanging up first. So as a reminder, when ending the call, set proper contact expectations. Any questions? All right, well, Becky is our AC of the day. So,
hey, good morning and happy almost Friday. So the client experience to me is really making our customers feel comfortable. No matter how you do that, if it's having a conversation with them, listening to a story they're telling, or relating to them in some way. There's a ton of ways you can do it. It's just so important because, the more comfortable they are with you, the more comfortable they are to ask you questions and to answer your call at each month. And if they're taking your calls and they're asking you questions, they're going to get more comfortable with our programs, which is really what our goal is. So the more comfortable you can make them on the call, the more comfortable they are going to be with their online marketing. And something unique that I do, I always try to go into every call with a really positive attitude and enthusiasm. Sometimes, you're going to get a customer on the phone that's kind of dreading your call. But if you're like, hey, it's Becky with Vivial, they're going to be like, oh, hey. So you might catch them off guard, and they're like, okay, maybe this person's not so bad to talk to, and I can actually enjoy this. So really, just going in with a good attitude is going to reflect well with them, and they're probably not gonna return your good attitude with a bad attitude. So always something I try to do. And if the customer does answer with a bad attitude, it's really probably just a bad day. So my goal is to try to make their day better and not add anything onto them, make it feel like, they're not a burden on you. So just trying to make them feel comfortable and have a good day. So that's my thing.
And the daily contest, Becky and the challenged AC must submit their best call today where they utilize the tips covered today to increase the client's future engagement by closing the call the right way.
Oh, hey. Donnie
and Becky. So one small difference today, I want everyone at this point to circle up with your team leads to have some just 5-minute discussion amongst your teams as well. What are your best tips and practices when it comes to closing the call that is going to lead to better customer engagement in the future? Jamie, if you can handle Rhonda's team in her absence. And so everybody circle up individual teams, 5-minute discussions, and make it a great day. Thank you.